Hey there. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about the mistakes that are often the cause of failure with creating your printables. And by failure, I mean you're trying to create printables to build your email list, to grow your traffic, and possibly grow your income, but none of that is happening. So when we look at printables and what people are creating and how they're presenting them, there's usually three reasons, three mistakes that are being made that result in no success. And so the first one is creating printables with no target audience in mind. Either you've really not mapped out your target audience, or you have one, but you're not really diving deep into their needs to create stuff for them, right? Sometimes we hear other people talking about printables they've created and they've done really well for building their email list or maybe their income. And so our natural tendency is to, well, maybe I'll try that. But really, what works for one blog won't necessarily work for another, simply because we have different target audiences and our blogs all serve a different purpose. So it's really important that anything you create, whether it is for, building your email list, so as a freebie opt-in, or creating it as a paid product, that everything that is created is with your specific target audience in mind. So that rolls into number two, which is making stuff that solves a pain point, that serves a pain point. So sometimes we can create really cool stuff and it's great. And yeah, it might be cool to download it, but you have to understand when people are giving you their email list to opt in for you to bother them in their email, right? It needs to be for a good reason. And so you will have a much higher conversion on those opt-in forms by creating things that they really have. They're like, oh my goodness, that would so make my life easier, or that is something I really, really need. It's going to help me do this. Some examples might be for like a Bible study type blog. When you do how-to tips and tutorials for doing different types of studies, or you do actual Bible studies where you break down the different books of the Bible or characters or whatever, and you create actual worksheets with questions like the Bible study worksheets and so forth, or coloring pages to go along with it. Anything to supplement or complement the actual Bible study. People would sign up for that because if you're going to do the study, it helps to already have the questions, right? For moms, creating things like chore charts or a schedule for homeschool or just different types of homeschool activities, printable activities, coloring pages, things like that. So again, it's something that your person needs, wants, that would make their life easier, that relates to the overall purpose of your blog, but isn't just creating at random, right? If you want it to convert, you need to be intentional and do your research. So the final thing is, even if you've created the most awesome products, the most awesome printables, you know it's something your audience needs, you've done your research, and for whatever reason, it's just not converting, right? Nobody's signing up for it, or they're not buying it, right? More times than not, the reason for that is not because your product isn't good, it's simply how you're presenting it. How we present things will be the determining factor of whether somebody wants it or not, right? So what I'm talking about is your opt-in forms. Is it boring, or is it like, hey, you really need me, right? Putting a visual picture, like whatever your thing is, if it's a spread of several worksheets, if it's one single one, if it's a book cover, putting a picture of it right there on the form will up your conversions more than you can possibly imagine, because something about seeing is what makes us take action. When we go to the grocery store, we don't need all that stuff that's in the checkout aisle or the sale rack, right? We don't need it until we see it. Once we see it, something triggers like, oh my gosh, I totally need that, right? The same concept applies to presenting your printables. And from there, even on if you have a sales page for your paid products, how it's presented will really determine whether somebody's going to buy it. So throughout this course, we're going to talk more about the different types of printables you should be creating based on your target audience. Of course, how to create them, make them look really great. And then the final piece will be how to present them, how to create really great converting opt-in forms, landing pages, sales funnels through your email system, once they confirm after they've subscribed, that will eventually lead to them making a final purchase. So we're going to go through all of those steps so that you can start really creating printables that are going to serve your audience, but also help you truly build your ministry for the near and far future, right? So take your time. If you have any questions, please hop over into the Facebook group and ask it over there. And I will see you all in the next lesson. Bye-bye.